Morning and welcome to another 1 hour build. Once again, we're building rock, paper, scissors, and we're gonna try to make a bit more progress this time. Start by installing our packages. We know we're gonna use PubSub, and we know we're probably gonna want Kina. Right, get those installed and move to the next section, and let's get our tests going. Right, we're going to describe, in fact, before we do that, let's define our PubSub. We're going to move straight into describe our RPS init. Start, actually, I think, because it's going to be an application. And we're going to do add describe tag. And it's going to take a count bots, and we're going to call that 10, and we're going to need a setup block. Context do. This needs to return okay, context. And here we're going to do start supervised. We're going to start our RPS application, and we're going to give it in fact, I think we can just give it the context. Yes, I think we can, if we put our PubSub in the context. Right, okay, so that should start the application. And we just need to find some placeholder tests. So we need to test that and it initializes pub sub, and it needs to initializes all the bots and initialize a game. So that's going to be the core of our application. So of course, RPS is defined, but well, we're requiring, but it doesn't exist. So let's do that. Def module RPS do use application. We need to define a child spec in order for it to work with start supervised. So that takes args and it returns a map with ID. That's going to be our module, and start is going to be an MFA module, comma, start, comma, and this is going to be normal, comma, args. And then we do at impl application def start. We don't care about type, and we want a map here which will have bots, which will be our bot count, and it will have PubSub. Right. Okay, and this needs to return, supervisor.start link, empty child list for now, and the option is strategy 1 for all, I think. Let's see if that works. Awesome. So now let's define this test. We are going to assert that we can do registry.lookup on our pub sub. It doesn't matter what topic we look for, but we assume that we're going to assert that we can do it, and we get an empty list. And no registry pub sub, which is what we expect because we're not starting our registry. So we're going to go in here and we're going to make our first thing be Phoenix. Phoenix.pub sub, and it's going to take a name, it's going to be pub sub. Right, that test's passed. So let's implement the next one. We're going to need to use the context here. And what we're going to do is we're going to do for I from context, in fact, is 1 to context dot bots. And we're going to assert registry dot lookup at pub sub. And we're going to look for the player colon and call each of these B and then a number. And we're going to assert that it's not an empty list. So each one of these should be initialized and subscribed to its own registry. Now that test's going to fail. Yep. And we probably also want to do describe bot.init do, and we're going to test initial state, and we're going to test we're going to test that subscribes to player colon name topic, which is going to be basically the same test as below, but we can define that in a second. So we run that. Bunch of things are going to test and fail because they're not implemented. We're going to fail that. So let's start by, let's start by defining this one because we're going to need, let's start by defining some bots in here. Bot names is going to be right, so we're going to have a function here, def make bot names count, and we're going to return for I from 1 to count do, and each bot's going to be called B I. Okay, and then we get our bot names, and then we do bot specs is equal to make bot specs from bot names def b make bot specs. So this is going to be a supervisor.child spec. The module is going to be our bot module. We're going to have some initialization parameters like name, which is going to be the name. And what else is it's going to need the subscribe function. So it knows to subscribe to the pub sub. make subscribe fn. This is going to need pub sub as well, so that I can make the subscribe function. Right, and after that, we're going to just override the ID with the name. And fp make subscribe function is going to take pub sub. We can take name as well, actually. And what we can do is fn pick, and then we do phoenix.pubsub.subscribe pubsub, pick. And what we can also do is we can do, for example, a log to say ion.pubs, and we can say name subscribing to topic. In fact, we can even say which pub sub. Okay, so each bot is going to get a child spec. It's going to get its name and subscribe function, which encodes its name and the pub sub, and then we are going to do that. So for the bot specs, all we need to do is add them here. No, just since that's just a list, that should work. Of course, the bot module isn't defined, so that's going to fail. Yeah, okay. And we can do here. Okay, underscore state is equal to bot.init. It's gonna be B1, and it's gonna need to subscribe. Context do. Okay, context. And what's going to be? We're going to need a Phoenix pub sub. Okay, let's have a look. Yep, both of those are failing as expected because we don't have bot.init defined. So def module bot do use gen server def start link opt ours actually do gen server dot start link with this module and the args at info gen server def init args do needs to return okay and a state which is going to be just the name. So the args need to be name subscribe, and then we do subscribe dot player name. Ooh. So yeah, that's all passing. We can also check here context do okay comma state is equal to bot.init context, and we can say assert state.name is equal to context.name and assert state.subscribe is equal to context.subscribe. That should also be passing. Yep. It's all good. All good. Subscribe not found in name B1. Of course, because we don't actually save the subscribe in the state, we just use it in the init. Okay, so now we have a test that's not implemented, but our bot init tests are doing good. So we're initializing a game, and again we're gonna do assert registry.lookup at pubsub. Topic is going to be game G1 and is not empty, which of course is going to fail. Cool. And we are going to describe game.init do, and we're gonna need a describe tag name G1. There's gonna be a list, and just call it B1, B2. And we're going to need to set up with the context do. That's going to return okay, context. And we're going to add subscribe, and that's going to be fn topic. Phoenix pubsub subscribe, and that's going to subscribe to our pubsub. And the topic's going to be topic. Okay, and what we're going to test, initial state, we are going to do okay, state is equal to game.init. We need the context here. And now we're going to assert that state.name is equal to context.name. We're going to assert that state.pending players equal to context.players. And I think that's all we're putting in that state for now. And we're also going to test that it subscribes to game name topic 2. And this is going to be cert registry lookup pub sub. The key is going to be game name. Is an empty list. Duplicate that, and then we expect that's going to be length 1. And we're going to do OK, comma, underscore state, because we don't care about it here, is equal to game.init with context. Now, yes, we do need a context. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, so this needs to start the supervised. I know that I'm repeating myself quite a lot here. This is gonna need to be cleaned up. We are making progress. Yep, init game.init undefined game. Cool. Awesome. So let's define def module game do use gen server def start link args to gen server start link this module and the args at simple gen server init args do. We're going to return OK, comma state. And actually, I'm going to do a thing here already. Def module state do def struct. And we're going to have a name, and we're going to have pending players at least. And that's going to be a state. And in fact, we can check our test actually equals cool. Okay, so we have some type safety there, and name should be name. How are we doing? Yep, so the state test is now passing, and it's just the other two that we need to sort out. So without further ado, subscribe to, and that's going to be game colon. Initializes a game. Okay, because our application doesn't actually initialize a game yet. Yeah, so what we need to do is we need to add it. It needs to start after all the bots have started and after the pub sub. So we're going to put it in the list, and we're going to do supervisor.child spec. The module is going to be game. The params are going to be name is G1, and the players are going to be our bot names, and our subscribe is going to be make subscribe fn names G1 and sub. And then after we do that, we can do comma ID as G1. Mm, 27. Is that right? Let's have a look. We have that. That closes that. That closes Where's the complaining? Oh, oh, yeah, that's not right. Ah, there we go. Okay, all the tests are passing, everything's initialized. Can we see that we've got G1 subscribing to pub sub game G1? Awesome. So everything's subscribing to everything. I think that's all we need our application to do. So we can collapse that and now focus on what happens in the game and the bot. So once we start the game knows we've got the bot, the players, and the game needs to request inputs. But before it does that, messages itself do request input context do right. Okay, comma state is going to be game.init context, and we're gonna assert receive, and what do we expect to receive? Just a message that says request inputs. Yeah, of course that one's failing. I'm gonna quieten down these logs from our RPS application now that we don't need them for debug, just so we can see our tests a bit better. Yeah, And also I'm going to copy this. Copy this link, grab this window, make it a bit smaller so that I can actually look at my test over here. So when I run that, actually, okay, right, so what we need to do is in here do send self, comma, input. Yep. And then it's going to need a handle info, which we can define here. We're going to need the same stuff here. This is a bit annoying. And test requests inputs from all players. Context do gonna have okay, comma state. Do we need to initialize the probably don't. We can give it a fake state, but it's fine. Okay, comma state. We'll run game.init. This is actually an easier way to keep it in sync with other changes we make later. No reply. And we're going to have another state that we don't care about. And game.handle info. And it will be request state. Now what we want to do here is we want to do phoenix.pubsub.subscribe, and we're going to subscribe to our pubsub, and we're going to subscribe to the topics for each one of the players. So this needs to go in a loop for player from context.players do, and I'm going to subscribe to player : player. And then what we're going to do over here, lower it down, once we've done that, we're going to assert receive. And what do we expect to receive? We need to receive a tuple that says play. It needs to give us the game, which is going to be pin that. So we receive play, we receive the game name. Do we need anything else? I'm not sure we do, so we're going to leave it at that for now. And then we're going to run our tests, and of course it's going to fail because none of that is happening, but our previous test was passing, so it's just this new one that's failing. Messaging itself, this one's passing. So we need to do at info gen server def handle info request inputs comma state equals, this is going to be a state to, and we always return no reply comma state, and then for player from state dot pending players, we're gonna do and this is where we've got a slight problem because we don't actually have a way of messaging these players. So we need to make sure that in our init function we require a broadcast, which we then also put in our state. So our state needs to have a broadcast field, and that then gets processed through here. So then we do state.broadcast, and the topic is going to be player, comma, player. And the message is going to be what we defined before, which is going to be play, comma, game, colon, state.name, just the name of this game. So that means we have to change our test for game. So first of all, we need to assert state.broadcast is equal to context.broadcast, which of course is going to fail because we don't have broadcast in our context. So we add it here, broadcast, and we're going to get broadcast. It needs an additional parameter called message, and message. And I believe I'm gonna do something here, which is I have dot puts context dot name broadcast to just bring that to topic topic, and the message is going to be kernel.inspect, and that's going to be our message. So every time a message is sent, we're going to get a nice message to say who's sending it to where and what it says. Yep, so no function clause matching in game.init. I need to check game.init. Needs to have broadcast. Okay, so this means we also need the broadcast in our RPS application. I've arranged this a little bit. Do that. And we're going to make broadcast function. And this is basically going to be the same thing. need a message. We're going to grab the same thing here. Yeah, cool. So now bot needs to handle those messages. 190. And of course we need to update this one as well. Jesus Christ, this is getting unpleasant. That's fine. So now we need to define the handle info on the bot. So we can do describe bot.handle info, and it's going to receive play, game, game name 2. And again, we're going to have some setup here, which is going to be the same as the setup here. I need to not put these in the describe blocks, but in their own module. Yeah, that should be fine. And then tag it. What does it need to do? It needs to send back a play broadcast. Broadcast input to game context 2. So we are going to do no reply, state is equal to bot.handle info play, game is equal to G1. Don't think anyone cares. And the state's gonna be name is context name. Again, I don't think that's going to be used or matter much. Or is it? Are we going to include the name? I think we have to actually. Yeah. So we need to subscribe. So next pubsub.subscribe to our pubsub, and we're going to subscribe to the games topic because that's where we're expecting the reply. And then we're going to assert receive, and we need to receive a message which is play. Player is going to be our name is equal to context.name. And choice is going to be a choice, which we don't care about. I think that should work. State state's unused. Yeah, we don't care about that. Our name is unused. Oh, because we need to pin that there. Okay, and if we look here, we shall see a new port received. Okay, yeah. So now we need to actually implement the handle info at info gen server def handle info, and that's going to be play game name. And get this state. Do gonna return no reply, state, and we are going to def play do. We need to write a test for this, but we're running a bit low in time, so let's just do rock paper scissors pipe down to enum.random. Okay, and then we're going to do. We need to broadcast, and we don't have broadcast, so broadcast to add it to here, which means we're gonna need to add it to here. And we also need to change our tests for bot. We're gonna assert state broadcast is equal to context.broadcast, and we're gonna need a broadcast function, which we can grab from here. Okay, so pair name B1. Yeah, so now we should be able to actually broadcast. We can do state.broadcast. Topic is going to be game name, and the message is going to be play, player is state.name, and choice is going to be play. Yay. Ah, damn it, we need it here as well. Okay. In fact, can I just pause the context row here? Am I being okay? Yep, cool. B1 to pub sub game G1. Play choice rock, and if we do it again, scissors rock. Cool. Okay, so that's all working. Awesome. We are making progress. I'm gonna add one more function here. In fact, I'm gonna clone that. We're gonna handle info for just any message. And it just needs to do nothing. We just need the handler to work. There we go. So now we can add a generic handle info to bot. Just so it doesn't break if it receives other stuff. Because the bot doesn't really care, but we're going to want our game to send other messages for when we actually have real players to update the UI and things like that. So now replay comma state. Okay, all of those are passing. Nice. And I think we're done with the bot now. Okay, so next is bot init stuff, bot handle info, game init should be done with. Well, actually, we won't be yet. Request inputs we're done with. So describe. Interestingly, the game should handle. Oh, because we're not testing it. That should be fine because it's not actually running. Okay. So we need to handle info, and that's going to be play, comma, player is name, choice is choice. Okay, we're gonna need basically all the setup block from here. And then we decide what this needs to do. Chords, player, choice. Okay, comma state is equal to game.init context. And then we have no reply, comma state, go to game.handle info. That's going to be play colon player is going to be context dot players list first, I think, and choice is going to be rock this time. And we're going to have the state. And now we expect to say state dot traces should be a map with rock, and rock should have a list in it, and the list should include context.players list.first. That's the player we actually wanted. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that player and then do player equals that. That's no assertion. Damn it. Ah, that's it. Cool. No clause matching. Awesome. Cool. So we go to our game gen server and do def handle info play, comma, player, comma, choice, state, do no reply, comma, state. And that should fix that issue for now. And then it's not finding choices. Okay, so what we want here is to have choices. And that's just going to be an empty map for now. And then we see that, okay, so we need to check here case enum.member player state pending players player do. And what we're going to check is if they are there, we say true. And then what we need to do, and if it's false, then we just return no reply state, right? Otherwise, if it's true, then we need to update our choices. So no reply state, and then we do map.update. In fact, I think we can do choices. Oh, it needs to be that, right? The map update syntax there. Okay, and then we need to do no, let's not do that. Keep it a bit simpler. Update choices. Can do choices update for, and what we're going to say is the key is going to be the choice. The default value is going to be a list with the player in it, and if there are already players, we are going to put our player at the head of the list, and then we'll have players there. So we update the choices list, and we also need to update update the pending players. And that's going to be fn players pipeline to enum.reject. And we're going to reject players where player is equal to end1. So we're going to save the choice and then remove the player from our pending players so that we can finish up eventually. How are we doing? Okay, they're all passing. But sadly, we are out of time. We don't have a lot to do now. Maybe next time we will actually get the whole thing finished. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.